All right, moving to the next corner. And I think of the first round corners, this guy was one of my favorite. I was more excited for the player. He was, definitely looked at as possibly, one of the top corners in the draft. Obviously, he had a lower back injury that required surgery. And I think that, hampered his draft stock a little bit. But I was so happy for the player and the person that he did not fall out of the first round. The Tennessee Titans took a chance on him. Caleb Farley, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. Talk to me, E. What did you see with this young man?
The back injuries probably scare me more than anything. You see a guy have, multiple injuries to his back, and I think he had like an ACL injury as well. So just the injuries start kind of piling up, and they're like, dang, man, like these are like the worst of the injuries that you want to see, especially for a guy who didn't even play last year and still had to end up getting surgery. So one thing he doesn't lack is confidence. He has all the confidence in the world. I think when you just talk about just pure athleticism, he's probably the freakiest of the athletes in the sense of just the way he closed on the ball. I think when the ball's on the air is reminiscent of like Deion Sanders, the way Deion was able to close on balls, passes in the air. It's special in that way. I think where he can improve a little bit is maybe just his consistency with technique. Playing with just athleticism isn't going to cut it in the NFL. You gotta bring that technique with you, or you'll just be very inconsistent with guarding guys. So he can get better with just his eyes, understanding, reading guys down, things like that. But when he is able to see it and anticipate it, all the ability is there. I think he explodes out of his break just as good as anybody I've seen at the cornerback position. So with him, a lot of it's just going to be can he work really hard to be more consistent with his technique, and if everything else is there, the mindset, the ability, all that to change the direction. So I like him, but I'd be worried about the injury stuff. Kind of scares me just a little bit.
Yeah, I think for me, that was the biggest thing. Obviously player getting drafted, you want to go in the first round. So it's a feel good story for him to have all of that adversity and still go in the first round. But if you do look at it from a business aspect, like you said, the injuries do scare you. And when I put on the tape of Caleb Farley, the one thing that I love about him is he's not afraid to tackle. But if you're a corner who's not afraid to stick your nose in and make the tackle, I would think that you got to have some type of stability in your back. I don't think you want to get run over. Obviously, thankfully, he's on the team with Derrick Henry, so he doesn't have to tackle that guy. But if you look at some of the bigger backs in the league that he's probably going to have to go against, and even the bigger quarterbacks. I mean, if he goes up against Josh Allen, that dude's 6'5", 240. So, with his, willingness to tackle, do you think he'll have to change his game up a little bit? Will he have to be like Deion Sanders and start making a lot more business decisions and not getting in there and tackling because, maybe that could tweak some things with his back?
Man, I just think those are certain things that you can't really worry about. You can't go in there thinking like, oh, if I try to make this tackle, I'm going to hurt my back again. I think the moment you start doing things like that and worrying about those type of things, I think that's when it might be time to hang it up, So obviously, like he's gonna have to change something with the way he tackles, but you don't want to, lose that aggressiveness. Maybe he's just tackling wrong, and he has to fix that part of it. But most corners tackle wrong. But I think overall with him, it's you can't worry about it. Like you're just gonna have to. Okay, I'm healthy and I can go, or I'm not healthy and I can't play, and I'm just gonna have to figure out something. But the tackling thing is you're going to be put in that position where you're going to have to tackle a bunch of different ways, no matter what you try to do.
Now you bring up a good point. You say a lot of corners tackle incorrectly. So what do you see from a corner who is tackling incorrectly as opposed to a corner who is tackling the right way?
I think when I say like incorrectly, I mean you can watch like a video on how to tackle. And they're going to be like, step 2, face mask up, put on his chest, wrap up, shoot the hips through. Like, what I'm saying? It's going to be like that. And it's just like, man, that ain't realistic. Like, these running backs are hella big. Like, these receivers are big. Like, your mindset is just get him down, like, any way you can. So, our guy's going to kind of dive and shoot through the hip. And, that was the most effective way for me. And I was never hurt. But maybe that's something that, You've seen other guys get hurt or have some head injuries and things like that, and you'll see everybody on Twitter, that's just the incorrect way to tackle. Well, it's like, all right, well, you get out there and try to tackle these 210-pound guys running 4.3s and think that you're just gonna, step through, chin up, wrap them up. Like, no, bro, he'll run through your stuff before you even know. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, it ain't happening like that. So I say incorrect, but I don't know. The correct way is not something that happens very often. When you see it, because it's like, wow, like that was a great tackle. That ain't happening too often though.
Okay. I guess from what I'm hearing, you just gotta find what works for you.
You gotta figure out what works for you. You gotta get the receiver down, or you gotta get the running back down first and foremost. Like, get him down. Like, all that perfect tackle, all that. Like, that's how you get hurt. I mean, you're gonna get hurt regardless playing this game of football. Like, ain't nobody gonna go through a season and just be 100% healthy. I ain't missed games for most of my time playing, but I had messed up shoulder, or I had bad fingers, or I had lingering knee or whatever, and you get the little cortisone shot and you figure out a way to play in that game. So ain't nobody just healthy like that. But all that proper way to tackle stuff, man, that it ain't that easy.
Yeah, man, I feel that for sure. Shout out to our homie Nick O'Hara, my guys, Crock and Mose. What's up, fellas? Nick is the gentleman who, good friend of mine, good friend of the show. Nick is the person who made the introduction to Crock. My guy over at Nothing But Niners, doing good things. Great friend. So I appreciate you stopping through. Also, Amin the Dream. Crock, do you know who Amin is? Have you seen him on Grant Cohn's lives?
Yeah, he's been on my live, man. That youngster, he's more knowledgeable than me. Shoot.
I'm telling you, Amin is that dude. I love Amin. Love his energy. Love his insight, man. That kid is awesome. Amin is always showing love, stopping in. So much love to him as well. Thank y'all, man, for the comments. I appreciate it.